Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is October 28th, and I'm delighted that you're here. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It was certainly an interesting one. Okay, so before I get started, first of all, let me say thank you for all of the support. It's lovely. I now have less than 200 subscribers that I need to hit my magical 5,000. So I'm very grateful, and I thank you, each and every one of you, for the support you have given Soulprint. Over the weekend, I got a interesting request from a gentleman named Stephen. Okay, so Stephen, this one's for you. He wanted to know what the outcome was going to be of the World Series between the Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros. Okay, now I have to tell you, I literally had to start Googling this stuff because I know next to nothing about baseball. Being Canadian, hockey's kind of my thing, but I haven't paid attention to hockey in a lot of years either. I mean, I'm sorry, once Bobby Orr and Sanderson and Esposito, once all them, it sort of lost in. Okay, now granted I was 12, but the point is that, I'm not really a sports person. So I intuitively have an answer, and I'm going to just pull a few cards and see what we can see. So we're going to be off to a little bit of an unusual start. It's only going to just take a couple minutes. So let's just see what we can find out, okay? Come on down. Okay, so here we go. Nationals versus Astros, National versus Astros, Nationals versus Astros. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to cut the deck like so. This goes over here. This is Washington. This is Houston. I'm going to pull you back because there we go. Give me some room here. Okay, the Nationals. And the Astros. Okay. So this basically confirms or reaffirms what I intuitively felt. The Nationals are doing really well. They're really strong. They're looking to break sort of a non-winning streak that has existed for a really, really long time. I understand it's been like 100 years or so since they have won the World Series. I'm sorry, Stephen, I am. And I'm sorry for all of the people who follow the Nationals and love them and are big fans of them. It does not look as if they are going to win this year, but take comfort from the fact that I got a very, very clear intuitive message when I was asking for this, if they were going to win soon. And what I got was in 3 to 5 years. And in some really, really twisted way, it is almost as if the universe is denying Trump one more thing to boast about. Speaking of which, I was thrilled. I'm sorry, okay, I'm a little biased, but I was absolutely thrilled yesterday when they announced that Trump was in the audience at the game, and he was greeted with resounding boos and chants of "lock him up." So, if for no other reason than that, I just think the Nationals are an amazing group of fans, and I'm sure baseball players, but I don't know that. It looks like this year the Astros are going to take it, so I guess that's good news for people who are fans of theirs. Looks like they're going to take it. They kind of have all the glory here, but it's going to be close, okay? Bit of a nail biter, I'm hoping I've got that right. But yeah, it looks as if, much like Trump took credit for the killing of the ISIS leader, who I am not going to embarrass myself by trying to say his name, He took credit for that when, of course, it was not his doing. You don't get credit if all you can say is, yeah, go ahead. And in fact, he put the whole thing in jeopardy by not, by doing what he did with Syria and everything. I mean, he really sort of created an environment where he made it harder for the Pentagon and the troops and the people over there to get this done. But, that surprises nobody when it comes to Trump, right? He's always not quite ever understanding what he's doing. Okay. So this Kupperman guy, who was one of the people who listened in on that phone call, he has gone to the courts and said, tell me what I'm supposed to do. Do I listen to the president? Do I listen to the White House? Or do I do what Senate's asking me to do? And that has now gone into the courts. He, of course, by doing that, has created a situation where he, his behavior only creates another aspect, another piece to the whole obstruction situation. I do understand that Sondland guy is there this morning going over his testimony and trying to clarify what has basically been given a slightly different slant by other people who have testified. So that's really interesting. Okay, so this is the thing. As I'm sure most of you know, we have moved into a Scorpio season, and we're there was a new moon in Scorpio, and we're going into retrograde. And so, it's and that literally, that's about all I know about astrology. Okay, but it seems to me that just energetically, November is going to be a very interesting month, a very stressful month for the White House and Trump. So I want to take a look at that and see what we can see. So come on down. And we're going to focus on Trump, Washington, November. Trump, Washington, November. Trump, Washington, November. Here we go. What can we find out about that? Oh, and that reminds me, I did say in my last reading, the one that I put out on Friday, that Trump was going to get a little bit of a win. It would not last long, but it would be a blip where, there was some good news around him. So clearly, that is the news surrounding the killing of this ISIS fella. Although interesting, I mean, from what I understand, they didn't actually kill him. He blew himself up. So, but Trump, he's gonna take credit for everything. So that is his good news. I also said it would be a blip and it wouldn't last long. And of course it did not last long because, no sooner had he made his announcement that there was all this fuss about, all of sort of the things, the behaviors, the strategies that he declassified while bragging. So that's not good. And then of course he went to that game last night and got booed and chanted at. So, even his wins are very, very short-lived, and they just don't reflect well on him. Okay, so going forward, looking into November for Washington and for Trump, the Trump administration. Senators, members of the House, are starting to look very seriously at the information that is coming out because it doesn't reflect well on Trump. It doesn't reflect well on the administration, and more, it doesn't, it it's bad. Okay, the information coming out is bad, and it gets worse sort of with every passing day. So they're actually starting to listen. You're going to look, it's going to look from the outside looking in like we really have hit a stalemate where things are very, very partisan. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of communication going on, a lot of it. And part of what the calculation is becoming is the fact that Trump continues to lose support. The numbers for the impeachment and removal from office continue to increase. As that happens, and as that base under Trump starts to weaken, Republicans are going to start figuring out that it's them or him. And there's going to be some really serious sort of contemplation going on in terms of whose butt they're trying to keep out of a sling. Is it going to be Trump's, or is it going to be, their own? And I'm not actually convinced that in Washington, loyalty is honestly that big a deal. I think it's pretty fickle. And so at some point, you're going to see those cracks getting bigger and bigger as more and more people start pulling back their support. And, it's happened. I mean, you have Mitch McConnell basically saying, well, you'll have to ask Trump if he's a liar, but I didn't have that conversation with him about the Ukrainian phone call being perfect. There's little things that are going on that are starting to show a fraying around the edges. And ultimately, they're going to choose to save their own butt, not his. Expect November to be a month of, I want to say almost like one bombshell after another. There is going to be so much illumination. There's going to be so much information coming forward. People are almost going to be scrambling to keep up with the information that's going to be coming forward, especially from the impeachment hearings. But there's going to be other things that are going to start coming to light too. I don't know what they are, but there's going to be more and more stuff coming out that does not put Trump in a very good light. I mean, I don't think it was Friday, I think it was over the weekend, that there was an announcement that a company that Trump's brother is associated with or part of or on the board of was awarded a $33 billion contract. Not sure by what department now, I have forgotten. But one of the big departments within the government. So there's just more stuff is going to come out about, this double dealing and the corruption and all of the pockets that he's busy padding. It's not going to go well for him. Now, ultimately, more information is going to come out about Ukraine and the Ukraine situation. But more than that, I suspect that there's going to be information coming out about other quid pro quo types of behavior going on. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that is going on or we're going to find out about appears right now to sort of be still shadowed. It's behind the scenes. It's still shrouded in secrecy. People don't know about it, but it's going to start coming out. And again, the more illumination that happens, the worse, frankly, it's going to get for Trump. And there he is, right in the center, my King of Pentacles card. So, he, make no mistake, is very, very focused on his pentacles. He is focused on his possession, his money, and honestly, he is also focused on trying to repay the debt that he has incurred with other countries, and that's not only Russia, but there's China, there's Turkey, there's the United Emirate Nations, that, and if I've got that wrong, excuse me, but that whole MBA, whatever, MBS. That whole situation. There is so much stuff going on behind the scenes where it was literally tit for tat. You do this, I'll do that. I'm going to negotiate. And honestly, very, very little of it was for the benefit of the country. It was absolutely for the benefit of Trump and the Trump organization. And you notice I did not say Trump administration, but his own personal and family endeavors. He is starting to feel the pressure. He's starting to recognize that there is a great deal of judgment that is coming down and is being passed against him. And of course, as that continues, it gets worse and worse for him. He's trying to hide behind the White House. He's trying to say this stuff was the normal course of business. It is not. It was not. And the judgments are going to reflect not only badly on him, but they are going to reflect badly on the entire White House administration. So look for more information coming out about Pompeo, Barr, Mulvaney. Mulvaney is in for a really rough month in November. It is almost as if a lot of the stuff that he had his hand in is going to be exposed from, to the truth of it is going to be exposed. And that's not going to put some of these people in a very good position. There's stuff going on behind the scenes. There's deals being made. It's really kind of hard to decipher, but literally the vision I'm getting is like of a long hallway, and along the hallway there are doors, so like an office hallway, right? But door, all these doors kind of up and down this long hallway. And I see little people, like little figures kind of in black, scurrying. They go into one office and they run across, and then they go into this office and they run across back and they go back here and then they go to the next, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, whether that is with trying to figure out how to move this thing forward in a way that frankly protects the Republicans, although honestly, all hope is almost lost for that. But there's also kind of quiet negotiating going on behind the scenes. Mitch McConnell is starting to hear things from his senators that it doesn't bode so well. And, Moscow Mitch is going to be then put in a difficult position of, how much protection do we actually offer? And based on his comment about, you'll have to ask him if he's lying, definitely looks like his motivation has very much shifted from protecting the president to protecting himself. And honestly, as it gets closer and closer, old Mitch is going to start getting really concerned about keeping his senators safe, because he understands what's going to happen if he loses leadership of the Senate, and I'm pretty sure he's going to. It's a little early yet. We're, a year away from the election, but at this point, it does not look good for the Republicans hanging on to the Senate. So a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we're not yet privy to, but look for it to come out in November. A lot of communications coming out, a lot of juggling, a lot of balancing. Mitch McConnell, it's interesting because he just keeps circling around to him. He, in some ways, is going to have heard enough, and he's going to start sending out communications and messages, kind of directing his senators to sort of start looking at things a little different, start singing a slightly different tune. So that's going to be very interesting to watch going forward. Okay. There's going to be so much information that comes out from not only the Democrats, not only from the impeachment inquiry, but also from testimony or depositions that are being done, people coming forward. I think I did say either on Thursday or Friday that there's going to be some more people coming out that we're not aware of yet, that we haven't heard of. We don't know who they are. They're not kind of in the main public stream, that are going to be passing along some information or confirming anything that is a little, not as solid as they would like it. That inquiry is going to continue to grow and get stronger and be more and more fruitful, bear more fruit, and come to a place where the GOP have actually no option. They're going to find themselves disappointed. They're going to find themselves on the wrong side of history. And they're going to have to turn around and walk away from that which has brought them the dishonor and the disappointment. And that, of course, boils down to Trump. Okay. It's going to get to the point where the information, there is so much of it coming out. And sometimes, very often, in fact, this card, the Seven of Cups, sort of represents kind of illusions and not seeing things clearly, things not being what you think they are or what you expect them to be. In this instance, I'm reading this card literally as so many options, so many cups that bear fruit, so much information coming out that people are having emotional responses to. The burden is going to get heavier and heavier to try to support this man, to try to cover for him, to justify, to explain. And ultimately, you have dramatic and permanent change happening not only to Trump, but to the Republican Party and that administration. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of people who are going to be heartbroken. A lot of people who are going to be disappointed. A lot of people who are actually going to become disillusioned because of the information coming out, because of the communications coming out. And more people are going to start to see that this whole presidency has boiled down to money for Trump, and money for people who Trump owed. And at some point, the vast majority of the American people are going to say, you know what, really, that is enough. Now, there is that base of his supporters who would not budge if they had 100 opportunities. In part, it's important to remember and realize that part of the reason that these people aren't budging is because they're only getting their information from a couple of sources. They're getting it from Fox News. They're getting it from the radio personalities, Rush Limbaugh. I think that's how you say his name. They're getting it from Trump's Twitter feed. So they really have and do and live in a bubble of what Trump says is true. And so there's going to be profound disappointment because at some point, even they are going to have to start recognizing that some of what they thought was a lie and fake news actually turns out to be the truth and is more damaging than they anticipated or expected. So a lot of disappointment coming in the month of November for people who support Trump, who back Trump, who are allies of Trump. It's not looking good. Yep, it surely is not looking good. Okay, so we have some really strong women that are coming into play and into focus. Nancy Pelosi, you are going to see her snapping back at Trump and the administration, as she very clearly did with a great deal of sophistication and class, where she reprimanded Trump for not keeping the group of 8 involved in what was going on in terms of this whole ISIS takedown, but of course letting Russia know. Okay, so she's going to be having a little bit more to say. And part of what she's going to be doing is she's going to start drawing some really sharp comparisons to the way things used to be to the way things are now. And that is going to be part of the energy that brings this tower moment for Trump, the fool. Oh my. Okay. So we've got a lot of swords coming out here. We've got truth coming out. We've got stealing, underhandedness, dirty deeds, all coming to the surface. More and more secrets are going to be coming out. For those of you who enjoy popcorn, I would suggest you get a couple of extra bags of it, because it's going to be a really, really interesting month. The impeachment inquiry continues to move forward. The insights they're gaining, the knowledge, all of that is coming together. They move forward, and they're moving forward in such a way that they really are closing in on what is going on. I'm just going to cut the deck here. I want to see. Yeah, a lot of communications coming out. I still maintain that one phase of the impeachment inquiry is going to wrap right around American Thanksgiving. And the timing is not lost on me, right? For a lot of people, as they are celebrating Thanksgiving in the United States, there really is going to be like this sense of gratitude that this thing has moved forward to a place where you can actually see things starting to come together in a way that is going to bring this corrupt president and this corrupt administration to their knees. So here's what we know. We know, I'm sorry, it doesn't look right now like the Nationals are going to get the win that people hope. Continues to stay united. It's an important thing. Let the fans celebrate and enjoy how far they have become. And I'm really, really sure that that's going to shift and change in the very few years going forward. So I can see whatever it is they get. I don't know if it's a pendant or whatever it is they get when you win the World Cup. They're going to have that in their hands soon. Probably just not this season. For the people who like the Astros, yay team. We know that there's going to be a lot of information coming out in November, and we know that there is going to be a conclusion to one aspect of the impeachment inquiry. So I feel that towards Thanksgiving, they're going to wrap, they're going to sort of announce that public hearings are getting scheduled to start. Those public hearings are only going to last 2 or 3 weeks as the energy sits now. That of course can change, but that's what I'm seeing it now, which puts this thing wrapping up right towards the end of the year. So, that's what we know today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Your support is amazing, and I'm so grateful for it. Continue to take those times, take those moments to sort of recharge, refocus, step away from the insanity long enough to connect with nature, friends, family, or in my case, my favorite flavor of cheesecake. Take care, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.